Hi, I'm Jade, and today I'm going to talk about a few different things that should hopefully help you in the lead up to Christmas Day. As I film this, it's Christmas Eve and we're just about to leave for a big family party, and I thought it'd be good to hop on here and talk to you about Christmas, the anxiety in the build up, the anxiety on the day, how I've felt in the past as a result of OCD around Christmas time. And yeah, I just decided to do this because I was getting ready to go to the party and I was feeling excited and happy, and my life looks a lot like how I wanted it to look before I got better from OCD. So I thought it would be good to share some things that I did and hopefully help you to feel a bit better in this festive period. Really, this advice can help you with whatever's going on. Anything big coming up, an anniversary, a birthday, anything where you typically would feel nervous in the build-up. So the first thing to say is that I consider myself recovered from OCD and that I still have it, but it doesn't affect my life particularly day to day anymore. Christmas used to be one of the most difficult times of the year for me. It was filled with triggers. I just used to build it up for months in advance, for weeks in advance. I really dreaded the day coming, and a day like today, like the evening before Christmas, I would just be in a bit of a state. I'd be really panicky and anxious. I think it's worth keeping in mind that like people even without OCD get extremely anxious in the lead up to Christmas. And I think this is because we build this big thing out of it. Like something I've been thinking about this week is Christmas this year falls on a Sunday and we have a roast dinner on Christmas with my family. And I'm like, we have a roast dinner every Sunday. Why is this Sunday so different other than it's a turkey instead of a chicken or beef or a nut roast if you don't eat meat? It's like it is literally a Sunday like any other Sunday. But we build up this picture and it's almost like an illusion of this huge thing, this huge event that has to be perfect, has to go right. And I was reflecting on people who don't have OCD and anxiety. It's like, no wonder they get so anxious and stressed. It's because they have this picture in their brain that Christmas is so much more important than we think it is. Now, I'm not talking about this in a religious sense. You know, for religious people, Christmas Day is a huge deal. I more mean in like the planning, the organization, the day itself being a huge deal is, as I see it, an illusion. Why has this been built up so much? Well, a lot of that I put down to months and months of advertising, of every shop that we enter playing Christmas music, telling us we need things, pushing things at us, encouraging us to spend more money than perhaps we're able to. And so there's a lot to be said for just keeping it a little bit more simple and deciding not to buy into the drama. This isn't just my view. This has been like a way to overcome this type of panic. It's like, if I can just see it as a normal day, if I decide not to buy into this craziness of running around and buying more than I can afford, life is simpler and it's just a day that you can enjoy that's with other people that you like being with. Now, that does lead me to, you know, if Christmas Day itself triggers you, i.e. you have to be with lots of family members, or it makes you question your relationship more if you suffer with ROCD, this is a good exposure for us. So if you can start to think of it as like, oh, that's great, Christmas Day is coming up, even if I haven't been doing my homework very well in the last few months or weeks, what a great opportunity. I'm going to be thrown in the deep end on Christmas Day. I'm going to really want to feel a lot of love for my partner and my family, and maybe I'm not going to, or I'm going to be around lots of children, lots of family members, lots of other people that I would usually avoid. Maybe my social anxiety will kick in, and this is a really great opportunity for me to really face my fears. Also, just remembering that anxiety can't actually harm you. So no matter how terrifying it feels, and I really do remember that like really scary trapped feeling when a panic attack starts to rise. It's a very strange feeling, and I always remember just needing to run to be outdoors in fresh air. That was what I had to do. I would be sat there thinking, oh no, I need to be outside, I need to get out, you know, this world, this place. Now, a lot of panic that comes up around Christmas is things like around if you, let's say, for example, you struggle with sitting at a dinner table for 2 or 3 hours, which is quite common with the Christmas dinner. I personally used to suffer with a lot of nausea. So if I got intrusive thoughts, I'd feel nauseous and then I wouldn't want to eat. So the idea of having like a 3-course dinner was absolutely terrifying to me. Now, there's 2 things I did to overcome this. One of them was obviously my broader recovery journey. There's no quick fix for this. You can't just implement this tomorrow and everything's going to be fine. The long-term unconditional self and life acceptance, exposures, working on recovery overall. And obviously there's other videos on this channel about all of those topics if you need more. Yes, the long-term recovery plan was really important. I did actually do a video called My OCD Recovery Plan a few videos ago on the channel, so it's worth checking that out. So that's one thing that I obviously did in order to get better at Christmas time in a longer term sense, making peace with my fears, doing loads and loads of exposures so that things that happened on Christmas Day weren't actually triggers anymore because I'd been doing things that I was avoiding day in, day out. But the second thing was recognizing how, I can be sitting at a dinner table, eating food, and I'd be so panicked that what if I can't finish it because I feel nauseous? What if the plate's still full and I'm scared? It's like, it's okay to be like, not eat food. That can be considered a shame attack. Like if I didn't want to eat, I don't know why I used to get into such a frenzy and a panic attack. Why did I not just say, I'm full right now, I'm going to finish this later? I'm not talking about this in an avoidance way. I just mean I put so much pressure on myself. I must finish the meal. I must finish the meal. Otherwise, everyone's going to think I'm weird. Everyone's going to think there's something wrong with me. Everyone's going to quiz me. But actually, having a confidence to just be like, hey, I don't feel like drinking right now. I'll have it later. Or I'm going to finish my meal later. I'm going to eat it in small chunks. Like, that's okay too. So I think that helps alleviate this pressure we build up. It's like, if you don't usually eat huge meals, why would you all of a sudden start doing that on Christmas Day? You've got to be really careful though, because I definitely moved more into an avoidance place with stuff like this. So it's like, if there's things that you feel are like you're escaping from them and it's the easy route out, like try your best to go as far as you can, but it's also about not pressuring yourself into this perfect day. It's okay if you end up needing to sit by yourself for 30 minutes and reading a book because it's gotten too much. I know all too well when exposures and triggers become just too much. You do not have to sit there for 15 hours with other people enduring mental torture. It's okay to say, hey, I'm going for a walk on my own. Even if people are like, on your own, why? It's like, I want to. So see it as your day. Like, you can do what you want on Christmas Day. You can be with people, you can go off and watch a film you fancy, you can go for a walk, you can eat as much as you like, you can drink as much as you like. And I think taking that pressure off ourselves and that must in our brain of like, I must appear normal, I must be like everyone else. Something I found super weird and scary on Christmas was it was always a reminder that I was like different and somehow weird and odd. So like the fact that I wasn't excited like everyone else, everyone was jumping around so excited and I was just panicked, terrified, wondering, what am I going to see today? What are the triggers going to be? How's it going to pan out? Who's going to turn up? What's it going to be like? What's the food going to be like? Am I going to feel sick? Am I going to get intrusive thoughts and have to be sick? Am I going to run away? What's going to happen? And not knowing those things, they can make us feel like the odd person out. Whereas on a normal day, people are just whinging about normal life stuff and people do whatever and there's no big set plan. Christmas Day just feels very organized, very planned. And OCD loves that. OCD loves when you in your brain are like, I want this to be good. I want to have a good day. I don't want you to ruin this for me. I strongly suggest making peace with Christmas Day being awful. Make peace with it. Like, it might be terrible. I've had terrible Christmas days. It's no big deal. Like, I've had lots of terrible Christmas days. So making peace with the fact that it may be awful kind of takes the power away from OCD because it's got nothing to do. It knows after a while that you don't mind if you have a great day, an okay day, or an absolutely terrible day. But know this, you will get through that day. You will make it through because anxiety cannot harm you. It's just loads and loads of feelings rushing around. So you'll wake up the next day and you can at very least say, I made it through and I did my absolute best not to avoid things that scared me. And I'm really proud of myself. I got a little bit further than I did last year. Maybe there's a couple of things I did this year that were better in the sense of facing more fears or not avoiding than I did last year. And I'm really proud of myself and I've made some baby steps. The other thing I wanted to say about Christmas is I think it's like any other day, like an anniversary or a birthday, where we do think, I should have been more progressed by now. Look, it's another Christmas, another day where I'm not better. Oh my gosh, that's 15 years now, that's 5 years now, that's 3 years now, that's a full year now. Try not to worry about that. All recovery journeys are different. Everyone recovers at their own rate. And, the fact that you're working on it, are aware of it, is a great step. The fact that you're watching this video now is a great step. So I lived 14 Christmases before I even knew what OCD was, and I had it, and I was just in mental torture pretty much all day, every day. So the fact that you're watching this now is a really great thing. It means you know you have OCD, you understand it, and you are moving one step forward. Also, just remember that, like, just because you have OCD and perhaps that makes you different to other people, that doesn't mean that's all bad. Now that I'm on the other side of OCD suffering, I really like who I am. I'm really, not in like a big-headed way, but I'm pleased with the way that my brain has evolved and developed. And I tend to be in the group, in the family, the non-judgment person, the one who's always trying to have other people's backs, who can see things in a much less black and white way. And I think that's a really nice skill to bring other people on journey of. It's like if people are bickering about someone and talking about their choice, it's like, hey guys, seems like it works for them. Just having that less black and white thinking on topics is like something I enjoy, and that the people around me enjoy. They like that I have an open mind, and they're interested to find out, why do you see it like that, and why don't you hate that person, or why do you like this person even though XYZ. So I think try and celebrate your brain a little bit. What you're going through now is almost like training for a marathon. You're creating new pathways in your brain that are going to help you in so many other ways outside of just overcoming OCD. And I think that's really good to keep in mind. Something I want to say as well is, like, I definitely got into a stage of OCD recovery where I avoided alcohol and I avoided unhealthy food and I made sure I was exercising plenty. Absolutely, like whether you drink or not, and whatever your diet choice is, like you want to make sure that you have the right balance of like how you spend the day. I would say that I think everyone can agree that remaining relatively healthy for the day. So like, it's simply not great for anybody to get ridiculously wildly drunk. If you're really suffering with the OCD at the moment, I do typically recommend, like from my own personal experience, that like going down that road is not usually helpful, because if it's a difficult day anyway, if we're having some drink to try and quieten our mind or to try and get away from it, it's only going to hit us worse in the morning. So if you can find a way to like carry on with the day, absolutely not avoiding alcohol, but not using it as something as a crutch or an escape, is probably going to be the best approach. And also in terms of like what you eat, it doesn't have to be a ridiculously unhealthy day. Like if you think about a roast dinner, there's loads of veg on there. It's a really healthy meal. So yeah, just taking care of your body for the day. If you're feeling rough, make sure you're drinking water and you're taking care of yourself and having a nice fresh air walk. It doesn't have to be just sitting indoors, drinking loads, eating loads of terrible food, stuck inside, no fresh air, just festering and people all around you and just in this torture place, which is what I used to force myself to do. It's like, think about how you want your day to be, while also respecting that there are, certain duties that we have with our families, and we want to be involved, and we don't want to be the person who's like, oh no, I don't do that because of my anxiety. We really want to make sure that we're not letting it control us. Things like I would say, oh no, I don't have coffee after 3 o'clock because it triggers my anxiety, and it's really important. Like, it's like, again, it's just this kind of identity. It's like an identity. Like, I don't want that anymore. I still don't particularly like drinking coffee later in the day because I don't drink much coffee and it keeps me awake late. But if I fancy one, I'll have one. So it's just trying to be less rigid, trying to not have OCD as our whole identity. And also, focus on your vision ahead. Like, that's what I wanted to close on today, is like, how do I want my future Christmases to be? How do I want things to be in the future? Like, really picture what you want. I pictured wanting children one day, wanting to enjoy Christmas, and that is what I've got now. I've got 2 amazing children. I love being with our family now, and it's just really different than it used to be, and I never thought I could get here. So, really focus on, yes, it's not how I want right now, but what do I want and what stands in my way? and what is going to be my recovery plan in order to get that. So I'm not going to beat myself up that I'm not quite there this year. I'm going to celebrate every little bit of progress I've made this year, and I'm going to really work hard at aiming for, you know, feeling a little bit better next year. But I'm not going to hold on to that like, you know, like really hardly. I don't know what to say. I'm not going to hold on to that rigidly, because it's just going to make OCD force it away. The same with our OCD. If you're desperate to feel something for your partner, it's more likely that you're not going to feel anything because you want it so much that there's no room for it to organically happen. So how do I feel today about Christmas? Well, 2 days ago, I was starting to feel a little bit anxious. It was almost like an inbuilt like remembrance of the past, of how bad Christmas was, and my brain wondering, is it going to be like that again? But I just let it do its thing. It didn't affect my day in any way. It didn't change my decisions or what I did. It didn't stop me doing anything. It was just a little bit there, and I could sense it, and I thought, I'm just going to carry on with what I'm doing. I'm not going to let this change anything. And then now that we're here, now that it's Christmas Eve, we're going to go to the party. We're going to get the kids' presents under the tree when we get back, have a rest, probably get up at 5 a.m. When my husband is up waiting for the kids to get up, because he's more excited than them. And I just can't wait. We're going to do presents, go for a big family meal, just have loads of fun, Christmas walk, games, like, yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, there is a slight element in my brain that gets anxious this time of year. It's a time that I reflect on like family, maybe things that I would want to be different with family scenarios. Maybe it reminds me of things like my childhood. There were elements of my childhood that weren't particularly happy around Christmas. But, you know, I recognize life is not perfect. And this is why I don't consider myself cured from OCD and anxiety. I'm recovered in that it doesn't play much of a role in my life anymore, but there's always the potential for it to latch to things. So that's why I have to keep myself in a rational mindset, make sure that I keep on top of, you know, life structure and keeping my beliefs rational and not slipping into old habits. Because if you do that, if everything culminates and then you end up becoming more rational again, it's really easy for it to slip back in a little bit. And I mean a little bit, I don't mean like how I was before. I just mean it's got the potential to build a little bit. So I have to make sure that I am at peace with potential relapses. Like if it happens, it happens. But also I'm working to give myself the best shot at staying where I am today. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you can enjoy Christmas to the best of your ability. But remember, if you don't, it's just a day. It's just a Sunday this year as it happens, just a normal Sunday that everyone's getting very excited about. So yeah, give yourself a break and take the best from it, like see it as an exposure, and remember to make choices that are right for you, and be careful not to avoid anything. And I will speak to you soon. Bye.